Welcome back to Reachin Reverie. My name is Alex. I live here in West Texas in the Chihuahuan Desert. Josh and I, we bought 5 acres a year ago, and we've slowly been turning raw land into the homestead of our dreams, one project at a time. We just came out with a time-lapse video showing how far we've come in that year from start to now. So if you missed it, don't forget after this video, go check that out to see all of the projects that we've done in this first year and kind of where we're going moving forward. Before Josh and I even bought this property, we were studying aerial imagery of the property, getting a lay for the land, as we only had stepped foot on this property one time before we purchased it. So a lot of our planning came to do with how we could use this space to its full potential. 5 acres we are so thankful for, but in all of the things that we want to do here in homesteading and growing our own food and stewarding this land and living in relationship with the earth, you have to be mindful of what you're going to build, the structures, and how it's all going to come together and fit. So before we even purchased this land, we brought to the table a rough draft that we have been using as a guide as we push forward from project to project. Now that we've lived here for a year, we've realized that there's some changes we want to make, and those changes are going to be pretty big. It's really amazing. We've been having a very unusual wet year. Here in the Chihuahuan Desert, we typically barely scrape to double digits in inches of rain per year. It's been raining every day to every other day for the past month, and we are here for it. We are so thankful, and it couldn't have come at a better time as we're getting established on our land. In our original plan, I am standing where our house originally was gonna go. Right in here, this was our house. So for reference, and do disregard all of our junk, we are in the process, of course, of building things, and so we do have construction and all kinds of things scattered about on our projects, current and upcoming, and I do think that eventually we will have a designated place for all of this stuff. But in reference point to where we are, you can see our RV and our, what we've been calling the shop, right here. And the original plan, so plan A was that we were going to have our shop for Josh right here. This was going to be where he was going to be able to work on things and projects. We originally planned to have like a carport coming off the back side and have a really large concrete slab for him to be able to pull vehicles into to repair and work on. And then we were going to have the shop over here, not the shop, we were going to have the RV over here, and then this was going to be essentially like Josh's work zone and potentially like guest housing. Our house is going to go here. You can see that pole right there was the corner of the house, and then I'm standing, there's the middle pole, and then the stake down here was going to be the end, and then it went 40 feet back, so it was going to be 40 feet long, 40 feet wide. There's a stake out over here before the edge of our leach field. The leach field's over here with our septic. There's a stake over here, a stake in the middle, and right over here next to the truck toolbox, that was going to be the other corner of the house. So this whole area in here was going to be house, and that was plan A. We were planning on doing about 1.5 acres goat pasture in the back corner over there as well. Plan B, we kept the idea that these structures would stay here, but this was kind of up in the air of, could we turn this into like a guest house, potentially have like the RV guest house area over here. This was going to be the house, and in plan B we were going to reduce the goat pasture from 1.5 acres to 1 acre, and this back corner here was going to be Josh's shop area, and we had thoughts to build a shop back there. The negative to plan B was the thought of, how are we going to get electric out to his shop back there? That was something that we were trying to figure out. And then the more that we ruminated and thought about it, Josh came up with a really good plan, Plan C. And that's kind of where we're at now. Of course, we haven't started building the house yet, so all of these plans could change. We could scrap them and start from scratch. But I really like Plan C so far. This back area over here is going to be Josh's zone. It can allow for us to be a little bit more organized as far as where all of the things for Josh's projects will have like a designated area on the property. This acre in this corner is still going to be goat pasture eventually. But right here where we're standing, the previous house site is now going to be Josh's shop site. And you can see where this shop is planned to be. We are proximal to electric. So with Plan C, now that we are going to pull his shop from the back corner up a little bit closer to electric, he's going to have more space back there now. And this right here where we're standing is going to be his shop that we'll have to build. This thing that we've been calling a shop, that we had tentatively thought, well, could it be a guest house? We have a new plan for that space. So instead of the house site remaining behind me, that's now going to be a shop site. But what are we going to do with this shop that we've already built? Currently, we are using this shop as our living room until we get the house built. So this right here is kind of our current living situation. So we have our RV that's nestled underneath this RV port. And then over here we have our shop that's been a shop. We do still need to finish the exterior, which that's changed as well on our plan. Originally we had planned to foam and stucco the outside of this, but that plan is changing. We are still going to foam it, which will provide insulation to the outside, but I think we're not going to do stucco anymore. We're thinking about changing to a different kind of siding that's going to match what our new plan is for the house. So that's going to be exciting. And so we've been currently living in the RV as our bedroom, kitchen, and we have a bathroom in there. And then in our, what we've been calling the shop, it has been our living room and a bathroom essentially. So that's been a big enough space that we've been able to thrive while we really get settled into this land, turning it into our homestead and planning to build our house here. And as we've been settling in to this space on our property, we did start a yard to have as like a relaxing yard space. You can see we've started growing grass. That has turned out to be going really well recently. And then we also have put in a living fence. You can see this fencing material here, and planted underneath of those we have perennial plants like honeysuckles and jasmine growing up the sides of these. And to protect it, we did put in some electric fencing, you can see here, to really just keep the deer off of it while everything's establishing. And as we've been putting a lot of effort into the structures and into this space around here, we thought, why not just make this our home site? It's going to save space on the back of the property. We'll be able to utilize the electricity that's already here. And the more we thought about it, the more that we fell in love with this idea. We already have some of the structure made with our RV port. So that's material that we're not going to have to duplicate somewhere else. The thought had already come up after we build our house. Are we going to keep the RV? Is this going to end up being bays to have vehicles? What is this space going to turn into? Are we going to finish it out and make it into a rental house? And the more we thought about it, the thought came, why don't we just use part of that RV port for the structure of our house? And I think that might be what we're going to go with. So tentatively, Plan C is that we are going to eventually pull the RV out of here. This is going to be finished into a 2-story house, and then we're probably going to extend it out as a 1-story out essentially to about here and over. So it would look like about a 40 wide by 40 feet long, and then the section underneath the RV port may be a 2-story. And with the house kind of ending up really close to this shop, and we have new plans to build a shop over here, what is this space going to be? Now, realistically, it wasn't going to be very functional for a shop for Josh, as far as it didn't have enough room for him to get in with his vehicles, and then some of the space inside just wasn't really conducive for a shop environment. So we're gonna build him a new shop on the old house site, and this is gonna turn into my pantry, is kind of the thought. So we'll either do potentially like a hallway here, or this may just be a breezeway, like out the door, in the door, or a little catwalk or something. And then this space, once we get it finished, it's gonna have essentially like a mudroom type feel. And then this bathroom will be finished, so this could be like a come inside, clean off before you get into the house bathroom. And then inside the home, the spare area that we've been using as a living space, it already is set up with outlets for freezers, and it's going to be really good to where, you know, potentially maybe we'll have like an island for processing produce out of the garden and from the orchard, or potentially the livestock animals. We'll have a really big space to be processing food that we grow on the homestead. And then we also, I kind of almost envision it like a library, but for our food, where there'll be shelving and walls for canning. There'll be space for potentially freeze drying and dehydrating. We've even thrown out the idea of the potential for like a walk-in cooler. So with this space being as big as it is, this is gonna be like the home processing plant for all of our food, but we're gonna call it the pantry, so to speak. All of this talk and planning has me so excited for the future. One day at a time. Let's let this plane go by. All of this talk of the future has me so excited, and the best way for you guys to keep up with everything that's going on here on the homestead is to hit that subscribe button. We don't want you to miss a beat, and so don't forget also to like this video. Throughout this process, we have been pushing forward full steam ahead, and it has been a whirlwind, and I'm sure that plans are going to continue to change as we move forward, but we are so excited for them. If you've been there before, leave it in the comments below. What are some suggestions you have? If you think this is a great idea, or you want us to turn around and run the other way, we want to hear about it. So keep doing what you're doing, and we will catch you guys on the next one.